Yesterday was my younger brother Ted's wedding. My boyfriend Ian, a lawyer, and I were preparing to return to Seattle. Before leaving the hotel, I opened my banking app to pay the bill, but the balance on the screen made me freeze. "Ian," my voice trembled. "Something's wrong." "What is it?" he asked. "My account. $8,400 is gone." "Gone? How?" Ian leaned over to look at the screen. I pointed a shaking finger at the balance. "Last weekend there was over $10,000 here. Now it's just $1,600. Ian frowned and took my phone. He quickly scrolled through the transaction history and spotted several unfamiliar transfers. $2,000 to pay off a credit card in my sister Amelia's name, $4,000 to her husband Nicholas's account, and $2,400 to my mom's account. All of it happened last night while I was in the shower. I was stunned. "I didn't make those transfers. Someone accessed your account," Ian said, his voice low but laced with anger. "Anna, we need to contact the bank immediately." As we headed to the hotel lobby, my mom called. The timing felt suspicious. "Anna, thank you for yesterday. Ted was so happy," she said, her voice casual. "Mom, I need to ask you something," I said, trying to stay calm. "Yesterday, thousands of dollars were transferred from my account. Do you know anything about it?" After a brief pause, she laughed. "Oh, it was less than I expected." Her words hit me like a slap. "What do you mean?" "Amelia said you had more money in your account than we thought, so we decided to split it. Nicholas said you always have money but don't use it properly. Consider it a wedding gift for Ted." Ian noticed my expression and stepped closer. I put the call on speaker. "Mom, that's theft," I said, my voice shaking. "Oh, don't be dramatic. We're family, aren't we? You're always so selfish. You're single, you earn a lot. Of course you should help your family." Ian took the phone from my hands. "Hello, I'm Anna's boyfriend. What you did is illegal. Taking money from her account without permission is a crime." "Oh, the lawyer." Her voice turned colder. "Stay out of family matters, okay?" I grabbed the phone back. "Mom, how did you access my account?" "Amelia," she said simply, and hung up. We left the hotel and got in the car. Ian held my hand silently. "Let's go to my parents' house," I said firmly. "I want the truth from them." Half an hour later, we stood at their front door. Before I knocked, Ian put a hand on my shoulder. "Stay calm." I nodded, suppressing my emotions, and knocked. Nicholas's voice came from inside. My father opened the door. "Oh, Anna, I thought you'd left already." I walked straight into the living room where Amelia, Nicholas, and Mom sat. Nicholas was still smiling, and I was sure I'd heard his laugh earlier. They were talking, but fell silent when I entered. "How did you access my account?" My voice trembled. Amelia shrugged. "In the hotel room, while you were in the shower. Your password was easy. You always use the same one." "Why?" My voice cracked. Nicholas answered, lounging on the couch like it was obvious. "Because we needed the money. You live lavishly alone while we have kids to raise." Anger boiled inside me. "Don't justify theft." "Anna, don't make a tragedy out of this," Mom said in a soothing tone that made my skin crawl. Dad, still seated, unfolded a newspaper. "Don't yell." Ian stepped forward. "Anna has supported all of you for years. She bought Harry an expensive birthday gift, got Margaret a gaming console. Isn't that enough?" Amelia snorted. "It's her duty, isn't it? Anna's single, no kids. We have responsibilities. Harry's lessons, Margaret's school. That costs money." Nicholas, still smiling, added, "It was just a fraction of your money. You earn a lot, right?" Memories flashed like a slideshow. Amelia's wish list for Harry's 10th birthday, where even the cheapest item cost over $300. I wanted to say no, but Mom had said, "You're not going to give your niece anything? You live better than all of us." So I bought an expensive tablet. Now those moments looked different. I wasn't a blessing to them. I was being used. "I want every cent back," I said firmly. "Right now." Nicholas laughed again. "That's impossible. The money's spent on Ted's wedding gift, paying off debts, and a little shopping. Shopping? Amelia chimed in. Smartwatches Nicholas wanted, like yours, she bragged. My head spun. Those watches were a gift from Ian for my promotion, meaningful to me. Anna, stop exaggerating, Mom said. We're family. Families borrow and share money. Borrow and share? Ian raised his voice. This is theft. Dad finally looked up. Young lawyer, don't be dramatic. Keep the law out of family matters. I froze. These were my family, people I loved and supported, but to them I was just an ATM. Anna, let's go, Ian said, placing a hand on my shoulder. There's no point staying. As we walked to the door, Amelia shouted, Don't be so mad. With your salary, you'll make it back fast. We needed the money more. I turned back. She looked like she genuinely believed her words, as if I were selfish for protecting my money. Goodbye, I said. Don't call me again. In the car, I broke down, sobbing into the steering wheel. How could family be so cruel? Ian rubbed my back silently. Anna, I wasn't kidding. This is a crime. What they did, unauthorized access and theft, is illegal. But they're my family, I whispered. That doesn't give them the right to hurt you, he said, looking into my eyes. If a stranger stole $8,400 from your account, would you go to the police? I nodded. Then why is it okay if your family did it? They should protect and respect you, not exploit you. We decided to stop by Ted's place on the way home. He was preparing for his honeymoon, but said he was still packing. When he opened the door, he looked exhausted. Anna, what's wrong? I thought you'd left. Seeing my face, Ted knew something serious had happened. Someone stole $8,400 from my account. I think Amelia, Nicholas, and our parents are involved. Ted's face paled. What? While I was in the shower at the hotel, Amelia must have used my phone to make the transfers, I explained. Ted clutched his head. No way. He was stunned. I knew Amelia and Nicholas were talking about money lately, but I never imagined they'd do this. Mom and Dad said it was no big deal, that it was a wedding gift for you, Ian added quietly. Ted's eyes flashed with anger. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't ask them to do it. Anna, believe me. I believe you, Ted, I said, placing a hand on his shoulder. I don't blame you. What are you going to do? He asked nervously. I don't know yet, but I can't let this slide. Yeah, what they did was wrong, he said carefully. But if you can, don't do anything that'll tear the family apart. I didn't tear the family apart, I replied coldly. Ted nodded slightly. I know, just... He trailed off. Anna, we should go, Ian said, easing the tension. Ted walked us to the door and hugged me awkwardly. Anna, I'm so sorry. I wish I could do more. I patted his back. I didn't want to ruin your wedding. My wedding doesn't matter as much as your feelings, Ted said, but doubt lingered in his eyes. He was torn, wanting to protect me but still tied to the rest of the family. Back at our apartment, we sat in silence. Ian made coffee, glancing at me occasionally. Feeling any better? He asked, handing me a mug. I nodded silently and said, my voice shaking, I can't believe this happened. I never noticed they were using me. Ian took my hand. Because you're kind. Because you trusted your family. But this time they crossed a line by taking your money without permission. He paused, thinking, Anna, this is a clear crime. You have every right to take legal action. You mean report my family to the police? Yes. They did something wrong, not you. The next morning, Ian left early, saying he needed to check something. I took the day off and spent it in the apartment. After lunch, Ian returned with a thick folder. Look at this, he said, spreading documents on the living room table, papers on financial crimes, and a detailed guide to gathering evidence of unauthorized access. I consulted a colleague at my firm who specializes in financial crimes, Ian explained. She says family financial exploitation is more common than we think. Single, high-earning people are often targets. I flipped through the documents. Is all this really necessary? They're my family. Ian looked serious. Anna, what they did is a crime. If you don't act now, they'll do it again, and next time it could be more. What do I do? First, we gather evidence, he said. Bank statements, signs of unauthorized access, records of past transfers. Everything. From that day, I meticulously reviewed my financial records for the past 3 years, organizing everything chronologically. Statements, transfers, emails, texts. So much, I said in disbelief, opening the folder. In just the last year, the total I sent or loaned to my family exceeded $15,000. The list was endless. This isn't normal, I said, looking at Ian. It's one-sided exploitation. I also noticed a pattern in how they asked for money. First flattery, then guilt-tripping with, "We're family," or "You live better than us," and finally accusations of selfishness. It was psychological manipulation. Over the weekend, Ian brought his friend Sonia, a lawyer specializing in financial crimes. Anna, this is a clear case of financial abuse, she said. Being family doesn't make it acceptable. Imagine if a stranger stole $8,400 from Ian's account. What would you tell him? I'd say report it to the police, I replied. What if it was his parents or siblings? I fell silent. A crime is a crime, Sonia said. Being family doesn't give them a free pass. It's an even bigger betrayal because they're family. Her words pierced my heart. Ian said quietly, Anna, I'll support whatever you decide, but you're not alone. We're in this together. I love my family, I said. That's why I have to stop their behavior. They don't respect me, they ignore my feelings, and they betrayed my trust. I made up my mind. Ian, let's do it. I'll report this to the Financial Crimes Division. He exhaled with relief. You're making the right choice, Anna. We scheduled an appointment with the Financial Crimes Unit. Officer Taylor, a woman, said, Miss Moore, tell me everything in detail. With a trembling voice, I explained what happened the night of the wedding, how $8,400 disappeared, my family's reaction, and their years of exploitation. Taylor listened silently, occasionally taking notes. Ian sat beside me, adding technical details when needed. Do you have evidence? Taylor asked. Ian handed over the prepared folder, bank records, proof of unauthorized access, patterns of past transfers, correspondence. After reviewing the materials, Taylor looked up. This is clear evidence of financial crime, unauthorized access, theft, and possibly prolonged financial abuse. What happens next? I asked nervously. We'll start a preliminary investigation, interview those involved, gather additional evidence, and assess legal criteria for charges. If there's enough evidence, the case will go to a prosecutor. I took a deep breath. Will they be arrested? That depends on the circumstances, Taylor said. Measures like account freezes or asset seizures may be applied. The reality sank in. My family could face legal consequences. Having doubts? Taylor asked gently. I shook my head. No, it's just, they're my family. Miss Moore, she said seriously, one of the most common cases we see is financial crimes by relatives or close contacts. You're a victim. Please don't blame yourself. Her words unlocked something inside me. I was a victim, and victims have the right to seek justice. Please proceed with the investigation, I said firmly. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages and missed calls from my family. The first was from Amelia. Anna, did you really report us to the police? They say our accounts might be frozen. I can't pay for Harry's lessons or take Margaret to dance. I can't believe you'd do this to us. Then messages from Nicholas and Mom. Anna, what have you done? The police came to our house. What will the neighbors think? You've shamed the family. Withdraw the report immediately. Dad says his heart hurts. What if something happens to him because of you? I replied with one line. These are your actions. I don't care. There was no going back. I was no longer the person who let herself be used. The next day, after work, I found Amelia outside my apartment, her eyes red, makeup smudged. "Anna!" she cried when she saw me. "Why are you doing this? We're family." "Amelia," I said, keeping my distance. "If you want to talk, I'll call Ian." "That lawyer?" she scoffed. "He's manipulating you. You weren't like this before him. You cared about family." "Caring about family and being used are different things," I said, my voice shaking. "Used?" Amelia raised her voice. "We just asked for help. Now Nicholas might lose his job because the police contacted his company. What about Harry and Margaret? Have you thought about them?" Fury surged inside me. Thought about them? I always thought about everyone. Did any of you ever think about me when you stole from my account? Amelia stepped back. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. "You've changed," she muttered. "Yes, I have, because I won't let myself be used anymore." A few days later, Ted visited. "I heard about the police investigation," he said. "Ted, I had no choice." "I know, but everyone's panicking, especially Amelia. She's scared for the kids." "That's their problem. They stole from me." Ted sighed heavily. "Ted, are you on their side?" "No," he said quickly, staring at the floor. "Can I do anything to help?" "If you're really on my side, tell them they were wrong and need to apologize." "I'll try talking to them," he said weakly, "but I don't know if they'll listen." After Ted left, Ian put his arm around me. "You okay?" "Yeah, it just hurts to see Ted caught in the middle. He didn't do anything wrong." "He'll have to choose a side," Ian said softly. "It's clear who's right." A few days later, Ian came with big news. "Amelia and Nicholas will face trial for unauthorized access and theft. Your parents are under investigation for complicity." "Will they go to jail?" I asked quietly. "That's up to the judge," Ian explained. "Since it's their first offense, they'll likely get probation, but they'll probably be ordered to repay the stolen money and cover damages." That night, my father called for the first time. "Anna." His voice was weary. "Why are you doing this?" "The police searched our house. They took my computer." "Dad, I'm the victim here." "Victim," he said bitterly. "You're destroying your family. Your mom can't sleep. Amelia's hysterical. Nicholas is suspended from work. The house is at risk of foreclosure. Is this what you wanted?" I took a deep breath. "These are the consequences of your actions. I'm not to blame." Silence hung on the line. "You're no longer our daughter," he said. "You betrayed the family, and you're not welcome here." After the call, I collapsed on the floor. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. Instead, a strange sense of freedom spread through my chest. His words hurt, but they also felt like chains I'd carried for years finally breaking. That weekend, Officer Taylor contacted me again. "Amelia Walker and Nicholas Walker have been formally charged. As for your parents, there's insufficient evidence for criminal charges, but they may face civil liability. A preliminary hearing is next week, after which a trial date will be set." She paused before continuing. "Miss Moore, have you experienced any pressure or threats from your family?" I recalled my father's last words. They'd disowned me. "That must be tough," Taylor said sympathetically. "Your safety is our priority. If needed, we can consider a restraining order." I told Ian everything my father said and how I felt cut off from my family. "Anna, you're doing the right thing," he said. "Their actions have consequences, and it's not your fault." "But I lost my family." "Real family respects and cares for you," Ian said quietly. "They didn't respect you. They ignored your boundaries and betrayed your trust. That's not family." A few days later, an unfamiliar envelope appeared on my desk. Inside was a letter from Marty Davis, Nicholas's cousin. "Dear Anna," it began. "You may not remember me, but I'm Nicholas's cousin. We met a couple of times at family gatherings. I heard what you did, and I want to thank you." I was surprised and kept reading. "I was in a similar situation. My family constantly borrowed money from me and never paid it back. When I refused, they called me selfish. but your stand gave me courage. I realized I have the right to set boundaries and say no. Thank you for your bravery." I held the letter to my chest, feeling for the first time that I'd done the right thing. This wasn't revenge, it was self-defense, and it inspired others like Marty. That weekend, Ian said, "I want to take you somewhere special to change the mood." He drove me to a beautiful lake outside Seattle. The sunset painted the water orange. "This place is amazing," I said, awestruck. Ian took my hand and led me to a pier where a small table with candles waited. "What's this?" "I wanted to make today special." He smiled. We enjoyed a delicious dinner, and as stars appeared, Ian stood up. "Anna," he said, dropping to one knee and pulling a small blue velvet box from his pocket. "These past weeks, I've seen how strong and brave you are. You stood up for yourself. It wasn't easy, but you did it." He opened the box, revealing a simple but beautiful diamond ring. "Anna Moore, will you marry me? Let's start a new life together, build a new family." Tears streamed down my cheeks, not of sadness, but of relief and hope. "Yes," I said, my voice trembling. "I'll marry you." I may have lost my blood family, but I was given a chance to create a new one, built on mutual respect. The investigation concluded, and a trial date was set. A few days before, I got an unexpected message from Ted. "Anna," he began hesitantly, "can we talk?" "Of course." "I've been thinking," he said, choosing his words carefully. "You're absolutely right. What they did is unforgivable. I'm going to testify on your side today." I was stunned. Ted continued, "I knew Amelia and Nicholas had been planning this for a while. I even knew they were using the wedding as a cover." "Really?" "Yeah," he said, eyes down in shame. "But I couldn't stop them. I was afraid it would tear the family apart." I put a hand on his shoulder. "Ted, it's not your fault." "No, I'm guilty too," he said, meeting my eyes. "But I can't stay silent anymore. It's time to tell the truth. I'm sure Mom and Dad will disown me too, but that's okay. Doing the right thing matters more." In court, Ted's testimony was pivotal. He confirmed that our parents were involved in the plan and that Amelia and Nicholas had previously planned similar borrowings. At the preliminary hearing, Amelia and Nicholas appeared with their lawyer, their faces tense, their glares at me full of anger. The judge reviewed the evidence and set a date for the formal trial. For my protection, a temporary restraining order was issued against the entire family. Leaving the courthouse, I met Amelia's gaze for the first time. Her eyes held not just anger but fear, the kind that comes when someone realizes the weight of their actions. Ian put a hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" "Yeah," I nodded. "I'm okay now." That evening, we went to a restaurant in suburban Seattle to celebrate our engagement with Ian's parents. They knew about my situation and expressed deep sympathy. "You're part of our family now," Ian's mom, Estella, said. "Family is about caring for and respecting each other." Her words brought tears to my eyes. In that moment, I truly understood what real family meant. As we left the restaurant, Ted was waiting outside. "Ted," I said, surprised, hugging him. "What are you doing here?" "I heard from Ian," he said shyly. "Congratulations." "Really?" I looked at Ian, who was smiling. "He's your family, your real family," Ian said. "Ted, what are you going to do now?" I asked, concerned. "I'll manage," he said confidently. "I'm planning to find a new job in Seattle." "Seattle?" "Yeah," he nodded. "I want to be near you, like real family." His words warmed my heart. I hadn't lost everything. I still had my brother Ted, and I was building a new family. A few weeks later, I received another message from Marty Davis, this time via email. "Dear Anna, thanks to you, I'm taking back my life. Your courage inspired me to say no to my family. I didn't go to court like you, but your story is reaching so many people. You helped me see we don't have to silently endure exploitation just because it's done under the guise of family." Reading her letter, I took a deep breath. Knowing my actions empowered others filled me with warmth. The formal trial began. Amelia and Nicholas pleaded guilty at the charging stage. Their lawyer requested probation, citing financial hardship and their children. The judge reviewed all evidence and mitigating factors before delivering the verdict. The defendants are sentenced to 3 years of probation for unauthorized access and theft. They are ordered to repay the stolen $8,400 and pay $5,000 in compensation for emotional distress. Additionally, they must adhere to a 5-year no-contact order with the victim. Leaving the courthouse, I felt unexpected clarity and calm. This wasn't revenge. It was justice and self-defense. That night, local news covered the case under the headline, "The Reality of Family Financial Crimes." My case was presented anonymously, sparking awareness about familial financial abuse. Messages started flooding my social media from strangers sharing similar experiences. "Thank you for your courage. You gave me the strength to stand up for myself." Ian smiled beside me. "Look, Anna, you're becoming a symbol of hope for so many." 60 days after the verdict, the repayment deadline came and went. Then came unexpected news. Court orders were enforced. Amelia and Nicholas's accounts were frozen, and some of their assets were seized to cover the damages. Nicholas's company fired him due to his conviction. According to Ian's colleague, their house was now at risk of foreclosure, as they could no longer afford the mortgage. Similar circumstances affected my parents. For a moment I felt guilt, but I quickly recalled Ian's words. "This is the result of their actions. You're not to blame." Finally, I felt I'd reclaimed myself. My life was moving in a new direction, free from the chains once called family. This time I'd build bonds with a real family,